Okay, hello and welcome back to Inkpot. I'm Grant Smith, and today we're working on this little dude we have here. Um, just quickly did a sketch. It took a while actually, didn't even pose the way I wanted, but we got something. And what character is this? I'm not sure the name. David Finch. I've been watching um, his live streams. He's recently had one with just so I have it right in it. Right. So we did one painting color study live stream that I watched the other day with Santos, and I found that really kind of intriguing. Painting in where he painted in black and white and then colored it. No, those techniques are something that I've tried before, but I've never really liked how they turned out. But he kind of did it a little bit differently, so I want to try that out, how that goes. Yeah. And anyways, so this is a character that I think David came up with that he's posted a couple times on Instagram. So I just wanted to try to do, since I'm trying something that was inspired by that podcast or stream. Um, I wanted to kind of keep paying homage and go do, do his character here too. Now for reference here, I also pulled this guy up. I drew this guy without reference. But there's just little things in the lighting, because I'm probably going to have kind of this more top down lighting going on, similar to kind of what's in, say, like this image here. So I just wanted something that would help if I ever got stuck in spots. So I had this bodybuilder in a single bicep pose, side pose there. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to be doing this black and white, I believe. I'm going to turn off the layer for now. Drawing on. Sometimes I'll do that. What I do is I just copy that layer, paste it, delete it on the layer that it's on, and back on. Merge that with the layer below. There's two different ways I can go about this. One is I do kind of a more detailed line drawing first, and then I'll start digital painting, or I'll just jump right in there with. That might be the way I go today. It takes a little bit longer then, but some of these details I think are going to be actually to depict as a line drawing than anything. Down. So just starting with the like mid-tone gray here, it's just going to speed things up a bit, so then I can kind of just paint in there with the highlights and the shadows, and mid-tone will kind of find itself there. Start with the. I don't ever go 100% black, or very rarely. I I'm not really gonna be worrying about little details on the costume until I get further. Of the highlight in there I have. Like the weight cage on the reference. So a little bit back even further. Just so it doesn't get mixed up in what I am doing. Get I don't have it. I'm not getting I'm drawing on the sketch layer. Probably why. Little things like that can happen. You know. There. I don't know why, but that our light gray kind of cool down here. Grabbing my wash blender. Just for now. Highlights and bring some shape him back. This stage, defining. The real like pencil like quality actually. Because I'm wash blend. Stuff like that. Gotta keep your toes on. Right. Different layer or the wrong tools. A lot of this there. Now when I put the highlight back in there, it defines the shape a little bit better. No expert. I I have no illusions that I'm not good. The problem people have. I know kind of where my skill level is best in, but definite. But you always treat it like you are. I was trying to learn. That's why I like his streams. I find that he's got a real good attitude towards learning to be better and is very open to like different ways people do. Or I think some people get locked into this idea of like the way I do it or the way I learned to do it and my teacher taught me is the way that should be done. And this year has actually been a year where I've really tried to grow that way. My own artwork. This brush pack I got is actually Ahmad Al. I'll have it linked in the notes there. Video. Still not sure if I'm gonna actually put. I'm trying to record more of the stuff that I do too, just so I can. Do feel like it's worth posting. That I have it. Post. So for a few years there, I just kind of gave up on doing illustrations. Doing a lot. I would only do like 1 or 2 a year. While I would progress still, it was very slow way of progressing. Even though each time I'd come back, the artwork would be better. I thought, well, maybe I should actually just try to really work on stuff that, even though I'm at a good, high enough level that, I can get by with that where they're at. It just, I wanted to be better. I've looked up to a lot of illustrators and artists throughout the years. I want to feel like I'm at that level. Might never get there, but like I said, I'm not worrying about too much about the costumage right. So just the sternum there, I'm just having a little bit more of a highlight. I don't get this rib cage quite. Continue work. I've got the opposite shape here. But I think also the pose that I have him in, it really didn't lend itself to much to difference. Right. Well, this brush too, this I'm using oil number 3 brush. It's kind of like my favorite brush. It has a little bit of texture, but also you can kind of like a pencil, you can just press harder. And it does that at a rate that's really nice. Like, it doesn't. It's just workable. Brushes, I don't find pulling teeth kind of get what you want out of it. Really like fix. Good way of pulling some of those details out is just having a real hard kind of edge against kind of a shadow, a lighter highlight kind of. For that, yeah, much better than it was. What I got like a hip bone there. Noticed a rough change up the leg a little. I had it, especially if I want him as big it is, which I do. That's where sometimes like the reference of like bodybuilders isn't great because they're so lean that you see stuff that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. Gotta be aware of that. Yeah. Sometimes they've overbuilt certain areas and built other areas. You just gotta be careful that still makes sense. flex to that X, just due to the fact that it's raised. Striation. Brush up and size a little bit. Shape kind of in. No, often I won't have my sketch layer on this long. I do believe it does kind of get in the way. But this is my first time doing kind of like the grayscale thing. And that's kind of got me a little bit more nervous about turning that off. And because usually I work from, I'll block all of this in kind of what I'm going to be using kind of for my shadow tone in my skin tone, or whatever this would be, like costume tones. So now that I filled that out, I can kind of work more the way I usually do. Just gives me a better idea of what is actually there at this point. Oh, I'm on. Something you have to keep in mind when sometimes you don't kind of have a checklist of stuff, you kind of end up messing things up a little bit because you'll make changes not realizing what the actual problem is. Kind of now I have kind of like a checklist what to check when stuff doesn't look right or stuff's not working right in studio here. I started mostly learning to digitally paint in Photoshop. Clip Studio, and I really do enjoy Clip Studio. It's way more accessible financially for most people. Paying $40, depending on what you're doing for Photoshop, but I still do have Photoshop. I don't do as much painting in it anymore because my actual drawing tablet is no buy it, I guess. My Photoshopper. It is fairly old drawing tablet. The Unova MSB 19.2. It was pretty much the only kind of budget thing that they had at the time. Could handle kind of what I wanted to do. But now there's a lot more. There's a lot of Canvas makes some. There's a company got like Game On that makes not bad ones too. A lot of options for people nowadays to get into working. I used to only work in like traditional that, and while great, I just find you don't get the reps in like you do digitally. Digitally, you can do so many, cost you anything material wise, can just at any time you have an idea, open it up and start going. Just don't find it's been really beneficial. The amount of work I do compared to working tradition. My mother was an artist too, and one of the things that kind of stopped her from doing more art was pursuing it further was cost of materials, because cost of art materials is really high, especially in traditional mediums like she was doing. So I do love like this big upfront cost. Even this monitor, the ones that you get now, way cheaper. The alternatives you have to like a Wacom now are way better priced than when I got this. But I think a canvas run you like $500 Canadian, or what that the pricing other places are, but I think I spent close to $800 on them. And that was considered cheap back then on a monitor of this type. So keep a little highlight in there. Where there's a abs more. Actually, I do have Finch's original cat. Let's look at his. Work. Well, this is kind of better than this right now. Just I think once I get in more stuff there, inform more how the shadows are actually going to work in this, instead of just kind of copying kind of reference. Since the pose is different, but it was the closest thing I could kind of find to what I drew. So, oh, painting brush. I'll probably want to out some of that a little bit more. Have, you know what, since separation in the test, I highlight a bit more of that separation. There. I gotta remember also this guy's not bare chested. He does have on clothes, so I probably will have to go and like some folds and stuff that looks a little bit more natural, and probably some color variation, tonal darkness. I'm gonna cheat a little bit with that part, and kind of how I can kind of cheat a little bit. And I'm between like, do I want how much of these brush strokes am I keeping? But really, things or like or that smoother, more realism look. Kind of go either way right now, even though he is kind of exaggerated person and size and stuff, but not quite to the point that you might see. You know what? A different idea. Usually, if you control over there, it selects everything on that layer. I think it's doing that. We'll see. Still. Yeah, it didn't do them all. Okay, never mind. I just thought it might be easier. Lighter color. Have a lighter. Want a little bit of that so I can see kind of what I'm doing here. Right layer again. Yeah, because there's times where I'm kind of thinking, wrong with this program, or it was just the fact that I was on the wrong tool stuff, and you can waste a lot of time. So you kind of have now I got a checklist kind of check layer, check tool. Sometimes it is an issue with the program. Most of the time it's your own. Push around the. Like I said, this is very similar. Probably didn't say it this episode, but thing I often say is the blenders. I was originally pretty against them. I thought like, oh, you kind of want all these strokes to look natural, but over time, I've gotten to really like them, and they are actually mimicking technique that you traditional media too, because you will take like while your paint's still wet, you'll take like a dry brush. This is not dry brushing technique. Dry brushing, you kind of have paint on, get it to the point that there's very little paint, and that's a dry brushing technique. But also you can what I'm describing is you'll have some paint that's still wet, and then you dry brush and run it over it, and then we'll drag the paint and mix it basically. with the other wet paint that's next. So it's kind of like real technique that, you know, basically mimicking the same thing a person's doing with that brush. No real cheating in art. Even tracing has its place. Neil Adams really opened my eyes to that, where he's like, you know what, amount of work a person's got to do. Like, he's like, you don't think that any of the masters that we look at today, like that they didn't do any tracing or anything like that? Kind of. Of course they did. Not that you should ever just straight up trace stuff, but for like objects in the world and stuff, do a little. Can I look at that? Kind of think that these are kind of rounding, kind of tapering here, and they should be broad. To kind of open that darker. You get these kind of ideas in your head of rules, and I just got to break your idea. There's rules and things are supposed to be done. Whatever gets you to where you want it to be, that's always the right way of doing it. Looking at too dark in there. Could also be kind of. He's pulling a big stomach vacuum, and this guy isn't, so not really stomach vacuum. I just sucking in his belly. Guy really, oh, tougher. In line art, I can depict that really quickly and easily, and it looks good. But in painting, sometimes it just doesn't come across quite quite the same. Oh, wrong layer again. I haven't drawn too much. There's something also about like shape wise. Here, buying shape of. Keep putting in a little bit more piece and see if that. I really don't want just like a little. This is the way it's kind of looking. Where originally I kind of had segmented. Drawing in. More to work off. How round that one feels though. Oh. But I want this shape here close to what we have on the other side. It's a little better. Oh, gonna need work. Get in there. Oh, this will come out. I almost think I went too dark in here, but grab a bigger brush here. Okay. Other things you just kind of around with if it's not working. This is where though that sometimes I wish I did go in there with a little bit better, more detailed rough. Oh, ooh. That's me. Now the thing is that tab must, well, they look round to actually kind of, they'll actually concave in parts and stuff. So get back, looking just like round orbs. Wow. Better. I don't like having this dark line here. Probably go in there. Now hard edge brush. Even though we have most of our highlight coming from up top here, I'm just gonna add in like a little bit of a like rim light kind of. Pull him out from the background there, but also not have. Let's get rid. Well, that was my plan. Sometimes it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Okay with You okay with it? I think because the cape back in. I don't know if he could have chose a complicated design for his comic character. Um, Definitely trying to be a little bit ambitious. I think with the character, like some of the detail you see in this character and like parts here, and even the mask is kind of this odd um, shape that's going to be probably difficult to reproduce over and over again. Interesting go that with it, but I think that's probably him just trying to push himself. And I think I believe it was like his first, like, gonna be doing an first original comic. I guess it makes sense. You kind of want to make a statement, your personal work. You know, some people I've seen though, I've been surprised where I've found like it's like a real step back almost what they're doing for the big comic companies, DC's and Marvel's. David Finch keeps going on that, going the right way. I won't call anybody out. There's one that comes to mind. One of my favorite artists, and when their personal project came out, I was like really excited. But then I saw it and I was like, whoa, this is a real simplified version of what this guy usually is. But maybe that's wanted to try something different style, and that's where he could do it was personal. Art for him, not for his audience at that point. Well, I guess you probably his main focus wasn't to people know me as this is the way I gotta do it. Good attitude. Handle probably best place. Didn't get a nice clean like that going for this character either. I'm gonna have like a tangent there to probably push handle back even burn to him. Get gonna put that out here. Let's see. It's covering that shape. Kind of hip protrusion, but that's a little high. Maybe I need to elongate, move that hip down, elongate the body. Just gonna. I'm gonna have to move section X down a bit, I believe. Oh, God, that did a closer to that there. Probably better. Well, I also have anybody think so. No, it was great anatomy to kind of make it look right. The guys do that. I think that's like the Chris Warner influence I had growing up, because often I read I probably read more Dark Horse comic companies. One of my favorite comic series, The Predator, and that was illustrated by Chris Warner, and he always had like nailed an. I can't think of anybody who used more, just like he somehow just simplified it down to its basics and just always had nailed perfect and add 90% pieces. And then I got more into dynamic guys like McFarlane guys, Finch too, stuff. As always a Moon Knight collector, because I was like Sienkiewicz's artwork on that. And when I saw how different of a style like Dave's was, Martin. But Bill Sienkiewicz is unbelievable. Another series that Chris Warren really, by coincidence, I didn't realize that he worked on it until I looking through my comic collection. Oh, like Fist of Khonshu issues are all, you could tell from the cover artwork, classic Chris Warner. Couldn't tell as much from the interiors, just because the way they inked it, they wanted it to look, I think, kind of like more like of a classic look to it. So it had a, where it wasn't inked, where it's pen and ink quill work, I think, that they probably used to ink that style, as opposed to you seeing you see Chris Warner style on his own. It's often he'll and for the covers of those Moon Knight books he worked on, it looks more like felt and that way instead of quill. By quill I mean actual quill pen. Dipping ink. Still not liking that. They're gonna quite a bit. Maybe if I kind of go a little bit further. Sorry, excuse me. I go a little bit further on his legs here. I'm thinking it'll be easier to kind of fill in that that transition. Also, I'm gonna probably put some like little folds and stuff of skin tight material. Dude is. I do love kind of the look of this character because it's pulling from so many different things, but it's still kind of reading like a totally original thing. So, even though I was kind of criticizing how difficult he made, of a job he made for himself with the character, very cool. Does nail kind of anti-hero. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Faust character too. That was like a real hard R to X-rated kind of comic from back in the day. Really kind of real dark story. Kind of Spawn before. Sometimes it's just put in some highlights first. Just so they're in there and I can kind of shadows it. A bit smaller. I'm just gonna turn off the sketch layer. I want to see how clean up the cabin. It's gonna be tough to kind of gonna say it might be tough for me to pick this leg in. I thought that I had the cape going in behind him there, but I don't. So I'm gonna pretty much think that's tucked in behind, falling into shape. Down a bit. Take that down. Gigantic thigh. I got going on here. I mean, compared to the reference, kind of not. Some of these bodybuilders have just preposterous bodies nowadays. From like the 90s on, they had preposterous portions that even on a comic book page go, oh, is too much. Even like you don't see people even do Characters like the Hulk quite as lean stuff as some of these. I'm gonna have to add some because little veiny. Something that I don't do. Have the guy 5% 20. Just so you can see the muscles too. Too lean. See too many of the strides. You're gonna do it this time. Line with the character. No, that thigh is. It's too much. Probably actually. But sometimes realism from what the actual reality is real is. Oops. Sometimes that can look more fake than. It's also where I have this muscle ending. Can shape that. Probably would end. I haven't done much of this hard brush work yet. And it's something that I use both soft brush and a hard brush. Also tough because he's going to be in dark attire here in the legs. Thigh is sleep. And back. Do that then. Funny, it's not the part that I thought would give me trouble. Well, I knew. Kind of. That's better shape. Some of this is also due to that I didn't use reference when drawing it, so I gotta work with put in there. Getting that. Where I can probably go. A little bit. There. Go to. Don't have thing kind of covering stuff there, which I thought would kind of, but kind of. All right, I out and push stuff. Not very precious. For correction, digital paint, color, toner. Grit. Only use oh, preposterously. Too big a brush. Not, not overly large, but let's look at that. Transition is until I did that. Oh yeah, that's create. I could can't, dude. Kind of even going more into the exaggeration in size than David Finch did, but I don't know. I was leaning towards going like really exaggerated style just to be different from what I do. So maybe that works. Alright, so I'm just gonna see, maybe I'll do the biceps, the part of the arms of the costume first, and then I might there. Okay. I'm thinking yeah. Doing a little bit of that. Alright. Go on to the arms here. That's probably where I'm going to add most like the veinage and stuff. Now, in David Finch's thing, this guy almost has like yeah, it's almost more like his skin is more almost like a zombie-esque skin. One thing I'm gonna do first, up the sketch, side kind of now where the costume is gonna be. Good area there. You know what? I gotta do that the opposite. I'm gonna do this a little bit. Create another. Try and hair. That be costume color. fill that now. Yeah. That. I'm just using this to kind of make a selection layer, really. One route I could have went like that. Yeah, well, maybe let's just. Wasn't going to do it that way, but that looks dark. No. Cool. So that gives you more of an idea of how we have the suit in there. I'm just gonna go along here and then that layer, softening with proper brush. Kind of got in so long. That's it. Should be sharp. Kind of put the edge in and then bury it a bit, so it seems like some of the fabric's kind of pulling stuff. Getting up. It is. How much time have I been going? I've been going about an hour. Bar. Oops. Go for 2 hours. Quite as quick as elf. Also doing it on this layer, I can see that this is just gonna do it as a levels particular smarter to kind of right highlight. Cool. So for now, that's what we have in the body. This here. Back to That was great to name this things too, but I would usually do that after I'll unless I'm really struggling. Cool. Jack, dude. Well, that's messy. Clean all that up. Reference. Accept. Where I can. That's where you start seeing these aliasing lines from the bucket tool. There's a way to get rid of that stuff in Clip Studio, but I've never figured it out. I've looked online, but probably something really simple. I just on. Art. Well, the hard thing is it another design that makes scratch my how fit those are. Not gonna be the easiest to produce. Keep the shape that I have there for now and shadow there when we get to them. I'm still picking from the layer that I'm on. Lighting really. Try it. Just to it. Here about yeah, get that back up and going. You're trying to mix colors. You don't want to use Blender. Do it with just grabbing the Alt key and just kind of going over and get this depth kind of look. And either you like that or you don't. Problem digitally is you can get caught in the really trying detail because you're often looking at it from far and you can throw stuff bad, not constantly enough looking at it. Kind of feel like I was about to do. Glad I pulled out there. Biceps too, it can be very tempting to just kind of make them round thing that really aren't. Not all of them look the same either, depending on. Some people have rounder looking ones, square looking ones. Some people have like real tiny kind of little bicep head on top of their bicep. Depends on where the muscles actually attach to the bone. Different on everybody. So you can definitely have some variation. A lot of comic book artists tend to get into this where everybody kind of has the same things just for speed. The amount of work that they have to do, the deadlines that they have to meet are kind of insane. They get a shorthand kind of for everything. You start seeing guys just kind of rely on different ways. So every bicep kind of looks the same. A guy like Jim Lee, you can tell a lot. Like, even though I really do like his style, it's very dependent on kind of the shorthand that he's created over the years. Kind of created his style. So I like to vary it up though. I don't like guys to have all the same ab insertions. Because some people don't have clean, nice ab insertions. Janky ones. Sometimes the abs are more angled. Sometimes one's angled, others. It's just. I'm sure if he had time, all that kind of stuff would actually. It's become kind of his style, I guess. You get in. Everybody kind of develops shorthand for stuff and becomes their look. And unfortunately, it usually comes from a place of like deadlines and trying to get stuff done in time. then it is probably entirely intentional. They look at it that way. That's just an opinion. Probably dead wrong. That was better than me. Yeah, it's just, I bet. Does it? I do love the look of like Batman, of that barrel chest and Sometimes I think it doesn't fit as well on like a Green Lantern or big barreled chest with the sucked in gut. Way more apparent on back too, just that kind of Adam West look. More apparent on Batman though because of his belt. Anybody that you have a belt or something like that's gonna put more. I don't know how much of that shoulder. Some of this is shoulder and some of chest to go. When I flatten that layer and get all dark there too. I'm also a person though that gets very bored doing this thing. Well, why? I don't know. Will ever be to work in comics professionally. I did one issue of a comic that I wanted to get off the ground, and I did enjoy doing that. Don't know, maybe in the future. Lord knows I need steady employment. Not really liking that at all. I think it's because I'm trying to apply lighting that wouldn't affect this actually in the same way as in the picture, since the angle is completely different. So what I can do to fix that. Blur. Add more. Arnold. I think one of the reasons why he was a successful bodybuilder did have weird kind of really long lightning. Still should be there. Yeah. Just probably. Schedule. Two. This is where they like talking about reference can throw you off. It did. Not that it looks add it the way it. I guess until I draw that part though, it's tough. The way I think I want. I just want to see what bicep split up here. To the too dark. Doing getting to color. That's because it's all light. Brighter. I kind of made that into a vein too. Probably not realistic, but probably not. Oops. That's a little bit better. They're a little dark. Let's try. Okay, I'm gonna leave that for now and just work there. You know what? That's not looking bad. Can just a little too hard off. Sometimes you're not hard enough. Right there. Quite the mental gym. And brighter tones. I kind of want to work. Just go there and this one I think original. Because I don't have a real reference. I really want to. I wasn't gonna post any more non characters and stuff. My artwork. I think Raw Straws mentioned something about. Oh, it's probably better. He didn't have any real traction on his kind of stopping doing arty stuff. Big stuff. Second I saw this character, I was like, yeah, I've never really done anything. Much as I liked the pulpy style of characters like Solomon Kane and Conan. Can't say that I've ever done much artwork. That's why I did that Turok piece. Kind of start off my series because like totally foreign. Mostly I drew like my interests were more crime comic. Did a lot of gangster suit, John Woo type stuff. People with guns. And it's weird because it's not like I didn't like do much of it. I did do some superhero stuff. Yes, it's somewhat the vein, but just so I think like you don't really Danish not cross biceps, so probably do that at try am get below it. Can that yeah, the shape of that armor better. Just in these transition parts of bothering me. Zoom out and see where we're at. What am I doing? 2 hours almost. Go a little further. 90. Oops. Two. All right, so I'm just gonna go back on the sketch layer. Sketching detail here. What I think I might a section. This I had when I was sketching this guy out. I tried a bunch of different poses and stuff. It's his face that I'm having trouble with. the way that this mask is. Got this grim kind of to his. I think he has a scar or something across. Not much for top lip. Bottom lip. It doesn't have especially wide on this character. Very kind of ringy. That's probably what I'm missing in the here is kind of that weird kind of otherworldliness. We can always back in there that happen. Yeah, it's weird. He's got the kind of like the zombie. Yes, I've never been really great. This is another thing that kind of drew me to his character. Stuff that I haven't worked on in a while and a lot to work. I mean, I'm not gonna act style. Add a here. So that gives me a little bit more to go off of. To the layer. Dark. Starting lines. Just kind of defining most of it with the shadows and the highlight right now. Gonna help give probably more of that zombified look he kind of has to this character. Kind of lumpy. Yeah, kind of smoothed out stuff. Or more of the shadow and the extreme shadow and extreme up tone. Nice gradation. That for now. All gonna be cape. Okay, for now. Probably need to put more of this, like, more extreme. Some of that. I'll probably have to go back and add to the arms and stuff, but we'll see. See how it looks. Podcast I usually listen to that's starting about now too. So I am gonna just pop that on quickly. If I react to what's on the show, sorry, I've done that before too. I started talking about podcasts kind of to myself. Should just knock those out for now. Those eye holes. If we will want to see the white of his eyes here. Try and get those symmetrical. No, it's just copy one over to the other side, but work it till same kind of thing too with this mask here. It's very what am I trying to say? Very kind of got this same kind of lumpy to it. I don't know how else to describe it. Very much in the Simon Bisley kind of way of doing things. Grab a big want to fill that. Just using the blender here. Down a little bit. A little bit of a highlight to put along the edge up here to Tough. Sorry, I just kind of was quiet for a lot of time there. What I'm finding tough about it is between this, like, do I want an angular stuff in there, or do I need it more soft in there? It's weird design. Take some work to figure out. Like I said, he wasn't doing himself any favors, that's for sure, by some of the choices in this character design. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's guys out there is a what this problem offering a lot of challenge. A kind of tone. And then I'll work it kind of backwards. There's actually I feel like is more akin to a pencil or something, working from dark to light. Strange for me to do is digital painting styles. But I wanted to try out this black and white. And once we color it, maybe this will all go way downhill. I've never done this style of, or I have tried it, but one that I'm not going to give up halfway through. Getting back to the way I do things. What I usually do. Whenever I've tried to work this way. There's a lot of people I respect though that work this way. I just don't understand how it works. Like, you get this really nice grayscale image, then adding color to it, it just looks bland to me. We'll see. We'll try to get it. See if I can. This piece. Can't wait to actually do. Did horns on another character. Go on Bolo for Final Space. I really enjoyed. The Eternals ripped off quite a bit. I don't know if it was, or maybe it was the other way around because the Eternals have been around long. I saw that movie. It was a certain aspect of this happens exactly same kind of storyline. If you don't like Final Space, I don't know the Eternal. I love Final Space, but I kind of thought the Eternals was mediocre. Wanted to like it a lot more than did. It was good. It's a good sci-fi movie. I just don't know if it really fits that well into everything else. There was also there's also a lot of motivations that were like plot convenience motivations, which weren't really like built up and doesn't quite line up the way I thought it would with the rest of everything else. It kind of just it seemed like it doesn't really fit in. But That's just my opinion. If you feel different, that's fine. I wish I enjoyed it. Like, a lot of these people are really enjoying it. I didn't hate it either. Don't want to that impression either. Just I think I was expecting a lot too from um, Chloe Zhao being director she is. Expecting a little bit more. Here. All right. All right. You're gonna need work. Everything. I just hope I don't get to the end of this and then like I feel like I really got to spend just as much time painting. That was kind of one of the reasonings why people kind of use that technique of crap of geez, what was I talking about? This is why I shouldn't listen to podcasts well. Yeah, so hopefully I don't just go, okay, though that was a failed experiment and I'll never be painting in that way again. But I do think it is kind of a time thing. Because if you can nail the grayscale, which is kind of the most important part, 90% of the work is done. So I understand why people kind of want to or work in that way. I just don't know if I can make it work myself. I don't. But there have been lots of people that I know that have kind of worked in my style and then switched and kind of continue say that this does actually work well. Maybe there's hope. Now I gotta say I'm not all that confident that this is gonna have to revert to style to really get this the way I want it. All right, so that's the best I ever got this mask to look. I think because I did it more straight on. Any of my other drawings were so poor. Um, I just got destroyed by the design of like trying to get these to fit good at all was really tough. It was funny because I don't find drawing Batman or Wolverine say like especially difficult, but man, I had trouble with this mask on the other one. It just looked like a cheap like masquerade mask. Not really what the look that I think it's supposed to have, but that's why I kept getting it. I'm doing the horns quite a bit bigger, beefier than his. Them to be really like more like ram's horns. You can see that what I did on Polo painting. Any of you watch that, my live series, that you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna probably try to do these more around. Not as like does they kind of get this segmented look? We'll see. That look. Big horn kind of. Blender there. Okay, well, put in that view. This is one time I am something to speed this up. Eh. Drop that. And at least that gets me part of the way there. Just merge that with the layer below. All right. Do quite a bit of work on that error in there too. Dumb the way I doesn't work. Get it. Get it there. Everybody just stuff that they're working through. I want to see how he is doing the horns here. They're really kind of stringy in this one, and then in this one they're quite smooth. I guess there's no real right or wrong way. Yeah, I'm tempted to just kind of do this kind of thing. Kind of segmented. Like that. That's what I prefer. I think they're. I mean, he did something similar with this, like, kind of stringy look. I think I want to go somewhere along the lines of that. Sorry. Sometimes I just gotta groan. Stuff's not working the way. Long brush shapes I wanted. Flat the edge a little bit too. Just so that segmentation makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I prefer that. Who knows? This character seems to be some changes with. He'll end up this way too. I mean, he's got enough hard stuff to do in character that adding one more element gotta be a little bit time consuming. Probably isn't smart. Yeah, it's looking kind of cool. Not really what he has, but I'm gonna make it my own a little bit. Can't really avoid doing that though. And you shouldn't, unless you're specifically being hired to imitate something or it becomes something that the editor or whoever you're working for, project lead, tells you that to go in. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just quiet now. Trying to finish up horns hair or something. Cool. Copy, paste. So just like I did with the last horn on that side, I'm gonna merge that with the hair below. Cool. often talk to my my tools just when they're not doing exactly what I want. Stern talking to they. A little bit bigger. Probably try looking at that now. Cool. So I'm really liking the way that this is looking. I think I should give my back a little bit of a break here. I hope you guys enjoy this. Does anybody like the little Windows news thing that pops up in the corner of your screen? Because I don't think anybody does. Can they just get rid of that feature in Windows 11? I hope. Anyways, just try to go over to my other window here, and yeah, let me just minimize that. Get a better look at kind of finished with here. A bit. If you watched any of my screens before, I hate the zoom feature in Clip Studio. It needs to be way more subtle. The steps need to be way smaller. I'm sure there's probably a way to change that in the settings or something, but I don't know what that would be. But anyway, so that's where we got to today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And next time I will try to finish out the entirety of the rest of the grayscale work here. And then we'll go on to coloring it in from grayscale, which will be the first time I have ever tried that. Well, not the first time I ever tried, but first time I'm going to do it all the way completely and not give up. If worst comes to worst, I'm going to have a really nice grayscale painting at the end. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hope you guys all have a good week and stay creative. Bye.